Welcome to Teaching Truth. When I was a small boy, I enjoyed playing at churches. By that I mean I used to get the step ladders out and drape the tartan rug over them to create a makeshift pulpit. I would also have my gran and mum as the congregation. And I remember vividly one occasion when I was playing at churches of filling the basin with water and proceeding to baptise my two teddy bears, Pogo and Teddy, having a baptismal service. They took about a week to dry afterwards. All good fun. And my mum and late gran entered into the spirit of that. Playing at churches. However, this is not a day in which we should be playing at churches. This is not a day in which we should be playing at churches. Time is running out fast. And there, if ever I heard it, is a plea for reality. And it's with such a plea for reality that I believe we need to take seriously as churches and also as individuals the challenge presented in 1 Chronicles 12:32, where we read that the men of Issachar understood the times and knew what Israel should do. What we should do as individuals and as churches is to step out of the boat and to be where Jesus is. The theme for our reflections over these coming weeks is if you want to walk on water, you've got to get out of the boat. And the theme for our reflections this week in particular is the boat of the church, because I believe that there are similarities in this account from Matthew chapter 14 in relation to the boat and the church, in which we find ourselves, as it were, sailing today. And in our reflections today, I want to consider with you the fact that there is a culture of comfort in the boat of the church. You see, the disciples in the account of Peter walking on the water were comfortable in the boat. Peter got out of the boat, and we deduce from that that the other 11 disciples did not get out of the boat because they were comfortable in the boat. There was a culture of comfort for the disciples in the boat. And there can be and is a culture of comfort for us as Jesus' disciples in the boat of the church that we find ourselves in today. The church, I believe, and hear my heart on much of what I'm going to say this week, the church today is predispositioned, if I may use that phrase, to in-the-boat Christianity. Following Jesus by staying in the boat, if there is such a thing. A bit of a paradox. You cannot follow Jesus truly by staying in the boat. The most common factor in declining churches, hear this, is an inward focus. The most common factor in declining churches is an inward focus. When we have our eyes on the boat, the comfort of the boat, rather than where Jesus is out on the open water. there is a culture of comfort. And that portrays itself in so many ways. A lack of commitment where 20% of the people, it's often said, do 80% of the work. People will not commit because they want to be comfortable in what they're doing. They don't want to, as it were, step out of the boat and commit themselves to a situation or to an office or to a function or whatever it is, because they fear that will be too much for them. There's also a culture of consumerism in the church. Consumerism has consumed many Christians to the degree that they feel comfortable. And that is replicated even in their mindset and approach. They see church as something to be consumed rather than something to give themselves to, and indeed for someone to worship Jesus Christ himself. You see, it's safe in the boat. It's comfortable in the boat. It's nice and warm and cozy in the boat. The reality is, whether we like it or not, in relation to the boat of the church, there is a culture of comfort. Paul Scanlon, the former pastor of Abundant Life Church in Bradford, in his book Crossing Over, says this: "Everything about our church seemed to be saying all is well, and there was nothing to be alarmed about. But in my heart, alarm bells were ringing. The comfort, the safety, and security that a church like ours enjoyed and offered was my greatest concern, because it was our greatest enemy." I remember one particular Sunday morning so clearly. I was watching the church assemble and observing what I'd been a part of for years but had never seen. People entered the sanctuary, put down their belongings and walked away to chat with each other. Car keys, house keys, purses, mobile phones and so on were all left unguarded as we just fellowshiped with each other. This scene became a statement about the condition of our church. That statement was simply this: we are not reaching the lost. We were so comfortable and so confident that strangers who might steal our stuff were not present, that we did something in church that we wouldn't dream of doing anywhere else in our daily lives. Paul goes on to write this: "Our abandoned valuables strewn on the floor were testament to the safety and comfort levels that we had drifted into." In our boats, as individuals or as churches, have we been drifting, as it were, on the open sea for far too long? And have we come to a place out on the ocean, out on the sea, where we have become comfortable, where it's become nice and cozy, and actually we've forgotten that there is an ocean of people, as it were, to reach out there? The boat of the church, there is a culture of comfort. I simply want you to hear much of my heart this week in what I'm sharing. And I just sense that God is rocking the boat in these days. He's rocking the boat to rock us out of, as it were, our comfort zone, and to say, come on, step out of the boat and come to where I am. We can either choose that culture of comfort and stay in the boat as churches, or we can move and step out to where Jesus is. If we want to walk on water, we've got to step out of the boat.